The message that changed everything. Captain Elena Vasquez stared at the holographic display floating above her desk, watching the alien transmission replay for the 100th time. The Karani ambassador's words echoed through her small office at the Earth Defense Research Station, each syllable carrying the weight of humanity's potential extinction. People of Earth, the tall, crystalline being had declared 3 days ago, its voice resonating like wind chimes in a storm. I am Ambassador Thelquin of the Karani Empire. Your species has been evaluated. You possess primitive technology but show aggressive tendencies. The Galactic Council has decided your fate. Alina paused the recording as the ambassador's prismatic eyes seemed to look directly through the screen. She had been a military strategist for 15 years before retiring to civilian research. But nothing in her training had prepared her for this moment when humanity learned they weren't alone in the universe. You have 2 choices, the ambassador continued as Alina resumed playback. Submit to the Karani Empire as a servant species. Your weapons will be destroyed, your military disbanded, your people relocated to designated worlds where you will serve our colonies. Or refuse and watch your species become extinct. You have 72 hours to decide. The transmission had ended there, leaving Earth's leaders scrambling. Alina remembered the chaos that followed. Emergency sessions of the United Nations. Military leaders shouting over each other. Scientists desperately trying to analyze the alien technology that had appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. But what haunted Alina most was humanity's response. President Chen had stood before the world 18 hours after the ultimatum arrived. Alina watched that recording too, remembering how her heart had swelled with pride and terror in equal measure. To the Karani Empire, President Chen had said, looking directly into the camera with steady eyes, "Humanity rejects both of your options. We will not submit, and we will not be destroyed. Instead, we offer you a third choice. Leave our system peacefully, and we will consider diplomatic relations in the future. Remain and discover why our species has survived every extinction event our planet has thrown at us." Alina smiled grimly at the memory. It had been a beautiful speech, full of human defiance and hope. But she knew, as did every military analyst, that it was essentially a death sentence. The Karani possessed technology centuries ahead of humanity. Their single scout ship could probably destroy Earth's entire defense fleet without breaking formation. Sharp knock on her door interrupted Elena's thoughts. She looked up to see General Morrison standing in the doorway, his usually calm demeanor replaced by something she had never seen before. Fear mixed with excitement, creating an expression that made her stomach tighten. "Alina, I need you to come with me, now." His voice carried the urgency of a man who had seen something that changed everything he thought he knew about warfare. "What's happening, General?" Alina stood, grabbing her jacket from the back of her chair. Morrison was already walking away, forcing her to hurry to catch up. "The Karani," he said, without slowing down. "They've gone completely silent." Alina frowned as they entered the elevator leading to the deep observation levels. Silent how? No more transmissions. No transmissions. No movement. No energy readings. Nothing. Morrison's jaw was tight. For 47 hours, their ship has been sitting in orbit like a dead rock. Our best xenopsychologists can't explain it. The elevator doors opened to reveal the most advanced observation center on Earth. Dr. James Chen looked up from a bank of monitors, his face pale with exhaustion. Alina had worked with James before. He was one of the few people who could remain calm while analyzing alien behavior patterns that defied human understanding. Elena, thank God you're here, James said, gesturing frantically at his screens. I need someone with strategic experience to tell me I'm not losing my mind. Elena approached the displays, immediately recognizing the energy signature readings from the Karani vessel. But something was wrong. The patterns were too regular, too ... empty. James, these readings look like background radiation, she said. Slowly, are you sure their ship is still there? That's what we thought too. James pulled up a visual telescope feed, showing the crystalline Karani vessel hanging motionless against the star field. But watch this. He switched to a different sensor array, one designed to detect quantum fluctuations. Elena gasped. The space around the Karani ship was alive with energy, but not the kind they expected. Instead of the ship's usual propulsion signatures, space itself seemed to be ... listening. The quantum field around their vessel is resonating, James explained, his voice barely above a whisper. It's like their ship has become a giant receiver, picking up transmissions from across the galaxy. General Morrison leaned over Elena's shoulder. Transmissions from where? That's what we've been trying to figure out. James brought up a galaxy map covered in pulsing dots. In the last 47 hours, we've detected similar quantum resonance patterns from 17 different star systems, all of them known to harbor intelligent life, according to our deep space observations. Elena felt a chill run down her spine. You're saying other alien species are talking to each other about us? Not talking, James corrected. They're listening. Every one of these civilizations has gone completely silent, just like the Karani. It's as if the entire galaxy is holding its breath, waiting for something. The implications hit Elena like a physical blow. Earth's defiant response hadn't been ignored or dismissed. It had triggered something that reached across interstellar space, touching civilizations humanity had never even known existed. What could cause that kind of reaction, she asked, though part of her already suspected the answer would be more terrifying than comforting. That's what we need you to figure out, General Morrison said grimly, because our deep space monitors just picked up something else, something big. James manipulated the display, zooming out to show the outer edges of the solar system. Elena's breath caught in her throat as she saw them. Energy signatures, massive ones, moving toward Earth from multiple directions. Not one ship, not 10 ships, but hundreds. The Karani Empire's war fleet, Morrison explained unnecessarily. Elena could see the tactical display clearly enough to understand what they were facing. 300 vessels, each larger than anything humanity had ever built, converging on Earth in a formation that spoke of absolute annihilation. How long? She asked, her strategic mind already calculating arrival times and possible defense scenarios. 36 hours at current speed. James's voice was steady, but Elena could see his hands shaking slightly. Elena, that's enough firepower to crack planets. Our entire defense fleet is 12 ships, and most of those are converted mining vessels with rail guns bolted to their hulls. Elena stared at the display, watching death approach her species in the form of distant lights on a screen. But something nagged at her, a detail that didn't fit the pattern of approaching doom. James, show me the quantum resonance data again. She studied the readings as he complied. Look at this pattern here. The resonance isn't random. It's structured, almost like language, James finished, his eyes widening as he saw what Elena had noticed. Elena, what if our response to the Karani wasn't just heard by their leadership? What if it was heard by everyone? General Morrison stepped closer to the display. Explain, Elena's mind raced as pieces of an impossible puzzle began falling into place. The Karani ambassador said humanity had been evaluated. That suggests they've been watching us, studying us, probably for years. They know about our history, our wars, our technology, but they don't know about our psychology. What are you getting at? Morrison asked asterisk. President Chun's speech was broadcast globally. Alina continued, her excitement growing as the theory took shape. Every human on Earth heard his words. Every single person on the planet knew at that exact moment that we were facing extinction. And every one of them had the same basic response. James was nodding now, understanding dawning in his eyes. A collective psychological event. 7 billion minds all focused on the same thought at the same instant. Get out of our system, Alina whispered. 7 billion people, all thinking the same thing at exactly the same time. What if that kind of focused mental energy creates something detectable? Something that travels faster than radio waves. The three of them stared at each other in silence as the implications sank in. If Elena's theory was correct, then humanity's defiant response had been heard not just by the Karani, but by every telepathically sensitive species in the galaxy. The silence from other civilizations wasn't fear of the Karani Empire's response. It was awe at discovering a species capable of generating that kind of unified psychic resonance. We need to contact the president, Morrison said finally. If you're right, Alina, then humanity just announced its presence to the entire galaxy in a way no one expected. Alina looked back at the tactical display showing the approaching Karani war fleet. And now we're about to find out whether that announcement was seen as a greeting or a declaration of war. As if responding to her words, the quantum resonance readings suddenly spiked. James stared at his instruments in disbelief. The signal's strengthening. Something's coming through. The main display flickered, and Ambassador Thelquin's crystalline form appeared. But this wasn't a recording. The alien's prismatic eyes were wide with something Alina had never expected to see from a representative of a galactic empire. Respect, people of Earth, the ambassador said, its wind chime voice carrying new harmonics of wonder. We must speak. When silence became thunder, the Karani Warfleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system like a storm made of metal and light. Alina watched from the observation deck as 300 alien vessels materialized in perfect formation, their crystalline hulls catching starlight and throwing it back in patterns that hurt to look at directly. Commander, Sarah Blake's voice crackled through the comm system from humanity's flagship, the converted mining vessel Defiance. Alina, are you seeing this? They're not moving toward us. They're just ... sitting there. Alina checked the tactical displays with growing confusion. The Karani fleet had positioned itself exactly at the heliopause, the boundary where the solar wind met interstellar space. It was close enough to demonstrate their overwhelming power, but far enough to avoid being perceived as an immediate attack formation. It's like they're waiting for permission to enter, Dr. Chen observed from his position at the communications array. Every military protocol I've studied says they should have jumped directly to Earth orbit and demanded immediate surrender. General Morrison stood beside Alina, studying the fleet deployment through high-powered telescopes. 300 ships, he muttered. Each one could probably vaporize one of our cities. Why are they holding position? The answer came as Ambassador Thelquin materialized on the main communication screen. But this wasn't the same confident representative who had delivered humanity's ultimatum 4 days ago. The alien's prismatic features flickered with colors Alina had never seen before. and its wind chime voice carried harmonics of something that almost sounded like ... nervousness. "Captain Alina Vasquez," the ambassador said, somehow focusing its crystalline gaze directly on her, despite the crowded observation deck. "Your reputation as a strategic analyst precedes you. I request immediate audience." Alina felt everyone's eyes turn toward her. "Ambassador, I'm honored, but I'm not qualified to negotiate for humanity. President Chen leads our species, and General Morrison commands our defense forces." "You misunderstand," Thelquin replied, its form shimmering with what Alina was beginning to recognize as the alien equivalent of emotional distress. "I do not come to negotiate conquest. I come to understand what your species did, what we did." Alina stepped closer to the screen. "We rejected your ultimatum and asked you to leave peacefully." "No." The ambassador's form solidified, becoming more opaque as its certainty returned. "You did something else, something unprecedented in galactic history." The display changed, showing a three-dimensional map of the local galaxy. Alina gasped as she saw it. Thousands of star systems were highlighted in pulsing blue, creating a web of connected points that stretched across hundreds of light years. "Every civilization shown here detected your response," Thelquin explained. "Not your radio transmission to us, something else. Something that traveled instantaneously across space and was heard by every telepathically capable species within 3,000 light-years." Dr. Chen leaned forward, his xenopsychology training finally finding a framework for what they were experiencing. "Ambassador, are you saying humanity is telepathic? Because our own studies have never found evidence of that capability." "Individually, no," the alien replied. "But collectively, your species appears capable of generating psychic resonance on a scale we have never encountered." When your President Chen spoke those words of defiance, every human consciousness focused on the same concept at the same moment. Alina felt her theory from yesterday crystallizing into something far more significant than she had imagined. 7 billion minds thinking leave our system simultaneously created some kind of psychic broadcast. More than a broadcast. Thelquin's form flickered again. Cycling through colors that Alina was learning indicated deep thought in Qurani physiology. Your species issued what can only be described as a psychic command. Every sensitive species in the galaxy felt it, heard it, understood it perfectly, regardless of language barriers. General Morrison stepped forward, his strategic mind grappling with the tactical implications. "Ambassador, you're describing humanity as some kind of galactic superpower. That can't be right. We've barely achieved interplanetary flight." "Technology is not the only form of power," Thelquin replied. "The Qurani Empire controls 17 star systems through superior weapons and faster ships. But we have never issued a command that reached across the galaxy in an instant. No species has, until now." The implications were staggering. Alina found herself thinking through centuries of human history, looking for patterns, the unity, she whispered. "Humans have always been at their strongest when we're united against a common threat." "Explain," the ambassador requested. Alina began pacing, her mind racing through the strategic analysis. "Throughout our history, humanity has faced extinction events, ice ages, asteroid impacts, supervolcanic eruptions, plagues. Each time, we survived because we came together. We shared resources, shared knowledge, shared hope. Maybe that survival mechanism evolved into something more." Dr. Chen was nodding excitedly. "A collective consciousness that activates during existential threats." "Alina, What if that's why we've never detected human telepathy before? It only manifests when our entire species faces the same danger at the same time. That would explain the silence from other species, General Morrison added grimly. If they all received a psychic command from a previously unknown civilization, they'd want to understand what they were dealing with before taking any action. Ambassador Thelquin's form brightened, cycling through what Alina now recognized as approval colors. Your analysis is correct, General Morrison. The Karani Empire has received communications from 47 different civilizations in the past 3 DA*. Same question, which is, Alina asked, though she suspected she already knew the answer. Who are the humans, and should we be afraid of them? The observation deck fell silent as the weight of that statement settled over everyone present. Alina looked out at the Karani war fleet, still holding position at the edge of the solar system, and suddenly understood why they weren't attacking. You're not here to conquer us, she said slowly. You're here because you're afraid of what might happen if you try. Afraid is not the correct term, Thelquin corrected. Cautious would be more accurate. The Karani Empire has existed for 12,000 of your years. We have conquered or made alliance with every species we have encountered, but we have never faced a civilization capable of unintended psychic projection. Commander Blake's voice cut through the tension from the defiance. Alina, we're picking up new energy signatures. More ships are dropping out of hyperspace. Alina turned to the tactical display and felt her breath catch. The new arrivals weren't Karani. They were dozens of different ship designs, representing species humanity had never seen before. Some were organic-looking vessels that seemed grown rather than built. Others appeared to be pure energy contained in geometric force fields. A few looked like they had been carved from single massive asteroids. Representatives from the Galactic Council, Thelquin explained unnecessarily. They come to witness humanity's next demonstration. Next demonstration. Alina felt a chill run down her spine. Ambassador, we don't even understand what we did. The first time, we can't control it. That may be the most terrifying aspect of your species' new capability, the alien replied. Accidental psychic commands from a unified human consciousness could reshape galactic politics. Every time your species faces existential threat, you might unknowingly influence civilizations across thousands of light years. Alina looked around. The observation deck at her colleagues, seeing her own dawning understanding reflected in their faces. Humanity had just discovered they possessed a weapon more powerful than any technology in the galaxy. But it was a weapon they couldn't control. Couldn't aim and couldn't turn off. What happens now? She asked. Ambassador Thelquin's form shifted into configurations Alina hadn't seen before, cycling through what she suspected were complex diplomatic protocols. The Galactic Council will observe. If humanity can demonstrate conscious control of this ability, you will be invited to join the galactic community as equals. If not, ... if not, General Morrison prompted. If humanity cannot control accidental psychic commands, the Council will face an unprecedented decision. Do they welcome a species whose unified consciousness can reach across the galaxy, or do they contain that species before it accidentally disrupts galactic civilization? Alina felt the weight of her entire species' future settling on her shoulders. How long do we have? The Council has agreed to observe for 1 solar cycle, replied, 1 year in your time measurement. If humanity can master conscious psychic projection during that period, you will be welcomed as the youngest member species of the Galactic Council, with all the rights and responsibilities that entails. And if we can't? Alina asked, though she already knew she wouldn't like the answer. Then the Council will implement containment protocols to prevent accidental psychic disruption of galactic affairs. Alina looked out at the growing fleet of alien vessels surrounding Earth, each one representing a civilization that had detected humanity's unconscious psychic scream for the Karani to leave their system. Her species had survived ice ages and asteroid impacts, plagues, and nuclear weapons. Now they faced their greatest challenge yet. They had 1 year to learn how to control a power they never knew they possessed, or face containment by civilizations with technology centuries beyond their own. But as Alina watched the sun set over Earth, casting long shadows across the observation deck, she felt something she hadn't experienced in days: hope. Humanity had always been at their best when facing impossible odds. Maybe that was exactly what they needed to unlock their true potential. Ambassador Thelquin, Alina said, straightening her shoulders and looking directly into the alien's prismatic eyes. Humanity accepts the Council's challenge. We'll learn to control this ability. And if you cannot? The ambassador asked. Alina smiled grimly, feeling the collective weight of human determination flowing through her words. Then the galaxy will learn why our species has never gone quietly into extinction. As if in response to her declaration, Alina felt something stir in the back of her mind, a whisper of connection to every human consciousness on Earth, all of them united once again by the knowledge that their species faced a new kind of extinction threat. This time, Alina thought, they would be ready. Asterisk.